Hello and welcome to the Artist Studio. Today we are welcoming pop artist Andy Warhol. Pop art is an art for all people. Andy Warhol wanted to create art that was for everybody. He wanted to create art that everybody understood. Although, ironically, or funny enough, a lot of people didn't understand it. He wanted art that everybody could recognize. So he painted things like Campbell's soup cans, Coca-Cola bottles, money signs, Brillo pads. He made sculptures of Brillo pads or famous movie stars of the time. He wanted art that was for the people, that people could walk into a museum and say, hey, I recognize that. But it was so obvious that it went over people's heads and people thought, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But he made art that was mass produced for the people, things that were from popular culture, where the name pop art comes from, and that people could recognize and connect to and say, hey, I know what that is. You didn't need a fancy art degree to understand his artwork. So he made things like Campbell's soup cans. You could go to the grocery store and see those Campbell's soup cans all over shelves. So he made thousands of them and reproduced thousands of them, just like as if you were at the grocery store and you could say, hey, I recognize that. Same thing with Coca-Cola bottles. They were everywhere. Everybody could recognize them. It was art for the people, for the general population. You didn't need an art degree to understand it. You didn't need to be an art historian to understand it. This is something everybody understands: money signs. Money talks to everybody. These are two famous people from the time. This was a famous actress named Elizabeth Taylor. Today, maybe it would be Lady Gaga. This was a famous Chinese politician at the time. It was Mao Zedong. Maybe today it would be Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Ted Cruz. Another famous actress from the time, Marilyn Monroe. Who would it be today? Can you think of somebody famous?
Hi, I'm Ellie, and these are 4 of my favourite things. Bananas, my red coat, tomato soup, and comic books. But what do they all have in common? 2 little words: pop and art. Pop art is more than an art movement. It's a lifestyle, a craze, a way of looking at the world. But what is pop art? Pop is young, bold, and fun. This is life in the 40s. It's a bit grey. In the 50s, people wanted plastic and glamour. They wanted to have a good time. Buy more, spend more. Don't just watch TV, be on TV. Now you can listen to the Beatles and Elvis, watch cartoons, eat popcorn, drive cars, and become famous. Now it was pop art, all about culture. After all, pop art is popular art, art for all. But who were the pop artists? Richard Hamilton, this guy, said pop art was low cost, young, witty, glamorous, and mass-produced. Hamilton made collages using imagery he found in glossy magazines. Lifting images from films and advertising was completely bonkers at the time. This is one of the famous Marilyn portraits by Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol. This guy. See, a cool guy. For Andy, art was a product. The same as a production line of Coca-Cola bottles or Campbell's soup. He liked to use bright colours and silk screening techniques to produce art on a huge scale. Pretty clever, I'd say. Pop art was revolutionary! Pop artists were competitive. Who could do what first? Warhol had his advertising. Liechtenstein had his comic books. Pelosi had his collage. And Minnie Mouse. Wait, let's go back to Liechtenstein. He used Band-Aid dots to make his artwork look like comics, like the ones you get in newspapers. Female artists were also rocking the pop art trend. This is The Only Blonde in the World by English painter Pauline Botti. Pauline added fun into her art and was a bit of a rebel. Girl power, Pauline. Pop art came out of the gallery too. Nicola L. took this big red coat around the world to get people to get involved with her performance. This made a real pop crowd, not the celebrity faces in other forms of pop art. Pop art can also be found all over the world. In Iran, Parviz Tanavoli was a sculptor and painter. Like other pop artists, he made his art out of things that looked like they could be thrown away. In New York, Jean-Michel Basquiat remixed it with hip-hop and street art. Pop is on TV, on the radio, and on the internet. Like right now. Does that mean I'm pop art? Well, there's one thing Andy Warhol and I can agree on. I don't know where the artificial stops and the real starts.
To make your own camel soup, at the top, draw 2 straight lines coming down from either side, and then a smile at the bottom. Draw a small circle or a circle in the center, and then connect the circle. Do not go through the circle. You could have made, and then draw an oval in the middle and color it in black around that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to decide what kind of soup you're going to make. I made mine what I thought would be my favorite flavor, which would be cotton candy. You can make yours your name. You can make yours whatever kind of inventive flavor you want to come up with. And then you're going to paint it. And you're going to see how I painted mine. I turned off my camera while I was painting it by accident, so you'll see. But I drew cotton candy in the middle, and very carefully in very big letters, I wrote the words cotton candy soup, like a label would be. So I did it very carefully, tried to make my letters very neatly, and I wrote the words cotton candy soup. And then I went right back in there, and with a pink crayon, I colored in cotton candy. And then you're going to see I painted the top of the label red. And I put a red curved line at the bottom. I did the center yellow, and then I did my background blue. You could choose whatever color background you want to do. To make your own Campbell soup can, draw an oval at the top, draw 2 straight lines coming down from either side, and then a smile at the bottom. Draw a small circle or a circle in the center, and then connect the circle. Do not go through the circle. You could have made, and then draw an oval in the middle and color it in black around that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to